Just having network issues, but we are officially live. And today is Thursday. Thank you to everybody who is yet to join and everybody who has joined the live. So, in case it's your first time seeing me, my name is Deepika Molebore, and on this platform, I go by the name Barbs because Barbara is my first name, although I prefer Dipuka because Dipuka is a better representation of who I am. So today we're going to be talking about, um, I don't think I have a specific topic. I'm just going to have a conversation about how um, I shot in the dark and for some reason things ended up working out. And for some reason, me just doing things, um, not without not necessarily having a plan, things ended up working out in a way that I ended up hearing my mom tell me that she's proud of me and that I'm living her dream life. So I'm gonna start first by talking about something that happened yesterday. So yesterday my mom randomly sends me a voice note, and this is after me being mad at her on Tuesday. Remember on Tuesday I was mad at her because of something she said to me. So yesterday she sends me a voice note and says, there's a memorial service that's happening at our church this week. And she was there yesterday and she was like, I was at church today. She's like, I was at church today and some woman came up to me, not some woman, but some childhood friend of mine came up to me and she's like, man, I love your daughter so much. I listen to her radio show every single week without fail. And man, she's just so wise. I'm actually so surprised by how wise she is for her age. This is the woman saying this. And she says, did you coach her or something? And you can tell that my mom was actually, you could hear it in her voice that she was actually filled with pride. Like, wow, somebody's raving about my kids and that I did a good job. Wow, I'm having a good day. I can imagine in her head, she was like, wow, this is a great day. Somebody's actually telling me or coming to me and raving about my kids. Because actually now I'm having something as I'm thinking about something as I'm saying this. Um, I'm thinking about how growing up I wasn't the, what's it called? The top achiever. I wasn't good at sports. So you can imagine my mom coming to me and telling me that, um, telling me that somebody came up to her and told her that your daughter is fantastic. For me, that gave her the props that I don't think that she has received. That she didn't get to receive when I was younger. So that's amazing. I'm really glad that she got to experience that yesterday, and it was actually very beautiful to hear somebody say that they listen to my radio show every single week without fail. It's the without fail that I'm gonna highlight because um, and what I really loved about hearing that is that just like the story of my neighbor who I grew up with, Kennedy, who who shouted out the window as we were driving beside each other. Um, the same thing happened yesterday. I was where was I? I think I was driving and I was staring into space, thinking about how the listeners of my radio show don't like me. I don't think I have the voice that they relate with. That they're not in touch. They were not. I'm not aligned with what they like. Sometimes I good. This was me yesterday. I was thinking about how maybe the topics that I talk about they're not interested in. This was me yesterday, and I just ended up like shutting that off. And then towards the end of the day, like I said, I listened to that voice note that my mother sent me of somebody telling me that they love my radio show and they listen to it every week. So in that moment, I was like, wow. Each time, um, each time I'm about to give up, or each time I tell myself, or rather, the devil tries to fill thoughts in my head about how I'm not good enough, how I'm not doing well, how I suck. God comes and pulls me back and sends a destiny helper or just somebody that I expect to tell me that you're doing well. I'm like, each time without fail. Like I said, the first time I was going home, and I was just there like really bummed out. And I see a guy that I grew up with. He shouts out the window and he's like, Depoka. Actually, he calls me Barbara. He's like, Barbara, I love your radio show. And I was just like, okay, thank you. And then yesterday, like I said, my mom sends me a voice note and she says somebody stopped her in church. Some woman that she grew up with stopped her yesterday in church and told her about how she loves my radio show and she listens to it every week without fail. So that moment, those two moments yesterday, like I said, I was having one of those days where I was just like, oh my God. I think I there was a comparison. I may have seen something that then made me compare myself, and then I went down this rabbit hole. But anyway, super super grateful that like I said, each time I'm about to give up or I'm tearing myself apart, God sends somebody, and it's never anybody who I expect. It's never me going on a mission to like seek validation from anybody or my friends or anything. It's just always, like the two times it's happened, it's been a destiny helper, and I'm so appreciative of those moments. So I was the title of this live is that my mom told me that I'm living her dream life. So I want to talk about this season. I also want to talk about the season that I've been in this year, where, in case it's your first time interacting with me, in February I quit my job, and I'm gonna say it like for what it is. I didn't just have this moment where I was like, oh, I think in the TikTok video that I posted, I glamorized it. I made it sound, not even glamorize it. I made it sound clean, like neat. But I quit my job with notice, of course. I served notice. I did my notice. But it was one of those moments where I was just like, nah, I would like to, like, I'm feeling it in my bones that I need to do something different. And feeling it in my heart that I need to do something different. I need to go out there and help people. um, that wasn't it wasn't really like help people, but it was more of I want to do freelance marketing for like a bunch of different organizations. I had in my head, it was just this whole thing. I want to pursue content creation full time. That was me. I was just like, I don't have a plan, but I know that I have to leave this job. At the time my mom was like, you want to do what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm resigning. And she's like, okay. And I was like, don't worry, don't worry. And she's like, I mean, I had complained about the job quite a bit, so um, she wasn't that worried, but she was worried. She was just like, what are you gonna do? And I was just like, I'm not sure, but I will look for another job. It's okay. So